This is Dr. Andy Yates on the Incongruous channel, and this is part 2 of my theory of energy being everything, the explanation of everything there is in the paranormal, supernatural, spiritual, psychic, blah, blah, blah. And I just explained in part 1, which you need to listen to before this one, but, well, it doesn't matter. It's not a prerequisite. You could just pick this one up. But what I'm going to talk about now is I just talked about the way you generate theories, or a couple of the ways you can generate a theory. One is coming up with a theory and then looking for evidence, whether that be experiential evidence or experimental evidence. In other words, evidence you see and can detect and stuff like that, or energy experiments you carry out in a lab that prove that your theory is correct, right? And then the other way is you start off with let's try the other hand, a theory, right? And then you, let's try something. You look for phenomena, events that happen, things like this, people's experiences, recounting things like this, stuff that may occur in a lab as well, of course. And then you look for a theory that explains it. Yeah. So you come up with a theory, look for evidence that verifies it, or you come up with phenomena and look for a theory that explains it. You get the idea, and I've kind of chosen the second choice there. Now, the scientific method relates to the standard process by which such things are created and validated in the scientific world. So in simple layman's language, my language, here's how it goes. First thing you do is you got a question, and then you do some research into the question. You have references to other theories, other papers, assumptions, suggestions, whatever, other evidence maybe, and then you present a theory of what is being suggested, a hypothesis, right? You then carry out experimentation or research, and you're looking for like where a variable is changed and the amount of outcome is recorded or whatever. So an example might be where you're looking for the effects of light on a plant. So you try different types and different intensities of light, and then you'd measure the growth of the plant over days, weeks, months, whatever. And you do it lots and lots of times. Then you record all those results very carefully, and then you would analyze the results, whether they're supportive or not. You'd analyze the results, and then you would compare the analysis of those results against the original theory or hypothesis. So, in the first path towards creating a theory, the theory or question may be derived from different ways, in other words, conceptually from other theories, or mathematically, or mentation, or a creative imagination, which is what Einstein used to do. He used to go in like a kind of a trance state and come up with ideas, and these were the theories, and then he'd try and prove the theories mainly mathematically, which is cool. That's what we do. And the theories of his theories, as we've seen, his theory of relativity, led to other discoveries and other theories, including the modification of his original theory. Right. So theories are good. They've given us a good understanding of the cosmos and beyond, all the way up from the macro level cosmology down to the micro level quantum theory, quantum physics. But the second path is where you note a phenomena, and then you reverse the whole process and you carry out investigation and research into the phenomena to try and explain it. And then that would be analysed and bring you up with a theory. Now, if you looked at, say, for example, you see, the point I'm trying to make is a lot of these things aren't solid. You've got associated information, you've got supposed information, you've got almost guesswork with some of this stuff. Give you some examples. Cosmology, right? Now, Einstein had a theory that there could be such a thing as a black hole. Although Albert wasn't too happy with the idea, but mathematically that's what worked out. And the scientists at the time said, Albert, you don't know what you're talking about. That's a load of rubbish. How could that ever be, right? That the idea that a black hole could actually have so much gravity that it would punch a hole in time and space. They were unconvinced. But then another scientist came along years later and said, you know what? When a big sun collapses, when it runs out of fuel and its gravitational force makes it collapse, it can collapse into a black hole. And actually, that's a common thing happening around the universe. It's part of the normal growth and decay patterns of the universe. They went, oh yeah, you might have a point there. In fact, we've actually got a photo, haven't we, of the shadow of a black hole, and then they've used another telescope just recently which produced another kind of image or photo of a black hole. So we know they're there. We don't actually see them because, of course, a black hole, the gravity is so high that it actually pulls in light. So no light comes out, which is why it's black. Yes, you got it. But this is accepted. These kind of theories, you see, they are accepted. Now, if you went all the way down to the quantum level, there are things like, well, there's scientists theorize that there's a fundamental particle called a graviton. What is a graviton? It's a thing that carries the force of gravity. Graviton, gravity, right? But there's no proof of its existence. And scientists theorize that it might be covered by the widely accepted string theory. So you've got a theorized particle which relies on a theory, another theory, a theory upon a theory, neither of which have been proved, neither of which have even been observed. Okay, you get the idea. You don't need to have these solid facts. Well, we can present a lot more solid facts to justify our theory. So I don't know why a lot of our stuff is just thrown out the window. I went about ice stuff. I talk about the paranormal, supernatural, blah, blah, blah. Right. Point is, we're still discovering more types of energy and energy fields. I mean, the energy fields are related to the four fundamental forces, right? Which is the strong nuclear, weak nuclear, gravity and electromagnetism. But now they're talking that there might be a fifth. Wow. So we're already into that realm of what we thought was solid. Now we're kind of thinking about maybe there's a bit more to it than that. One of the fields we can add is the Higgs field, even though that's theoretical in a sense. Although we've proved that there was a footprint found that indicated that a Higgs boson had once been there. And then you've got the 0 point field, which they don't know what the heck that is, but it's there. And that is scientifically accepted. And I think it's detectable as well. So there are other fields. So there could be even more fields that have not been detected, that are distortions or changes or modifications of fields that already exist. Who knows? So, experiential evidence, that is evidence of phenomena, suggests that there is a field of energy or ether, which is often referred to as the 0 point field actually, that is undiscovered. Could be a variant of one of the others, who knows? And this could be applied to and explain paranormal experience. Here we go. So we come up with 3 theories. And in order to do this video, I've had all kinds of problems doing videos, right? I've ended up buying a brand new laptop. This is it. You can see it's looking like a good picture right now. But I haven't been able to work out how to switch different things in. I know it can be done. I see people doing it all the time. I see people doing it on their phones, for God's sake. You know, young lads and lasses doing it. And I'm like, oh. I just need to work it out. I haven't. So I have these three theories, and I was going to pop a little picture of them on the screen right now. I can't work out how to do it with this software I've got, and probably I need to buy some software. Then I've got to learn how to do it, and I wanted to get this out. So here we go. Here's the three theories. I've put them on a piece of paper. Look at this. Isn't this sophisticated? All right, theory one. Everything in the universe is energy. That's what we were talking about, right? The fact that everything comes down to the quantum level, that, and this is in part one, that, there are atoms, but they're not the lowest you can go. Atoms are made up of other particles underneath, neutrons, protons, electrons, and they're made up of something else. And then you get down to fermions and bosons and stuff like this. It just keeps going down. The deeper they look, all they find is more and more energy. That's the point. So everything in the universe is energy. The spaces between it, we call it space. It's not space because it's full of energy, fields of energy, right? Okay, what else we got? Now, life is an energy. And what I'm defining as life is the thing that keeps us alive. And I'm going to explain this deeply in a bit. But it's the thing that makes us alive as distinct from this bookcase behind me. It's not alive. It was once, because it's paper, and that paper was once a tree which was alive, but right now it isn't. So you get the idea, right? And then another one, paranormal phenomena can be explained by the theory of life energy. There it is. Okay, so this energy that I've said is there. Life is an energy, and that life energy is the thing that explains the paranormal, the supernatural, the psychic, after death, near death experiences, everything. That's my theory. So let's go on and see if we can. We've got the phenomena, right? Now we're looking for a theory that describes that phenomena, how that phenomena exists, and that's where we're going now. It's good, this, isn't it? All right, so let's have a bit of fun and talk about death. And we're going to go all over the place on this one, but death, right? What is death? Well, to talk about death, we need to talk about life. And what is it that makes us alive? Well, and I include all things. So when you look up definitions, you'll see different ones. I pick one. What is it that's got biological function, that's animate and not inanimate? It seems as if there's something else that makes us alive. And that something else is what I call life energy. So theory one, as I've just shown you, where is it? Theory one states that one of those energies, everything in the energy universe is energy. Theory two says life. Theory two states that life is an energy. The thing that is life is actually one of those energies. Like 0 point, like electromagnetism, it's an energy, right? So, an established physical rule applies, the law of conservation of energy, which says, and we've established this, that you can't create energy and you can't destroy energy. You can only change it from one form to another. Yeah? So if my theories are considered hypothetically, life energy must also never be lost or destroyed. It can be changed, it can move, but it's still in existence in another form. So if you had like a stick of dynamite, right, and you would have potential energy in there, the explosive nature of a stick of dynamite, right? It's potential energy. When it explodes, that potential energy is converted to kinetic energy. The air moves out, assuming it's done in air. The air moves out, blows things around, particles come flying out with force that allows things to move. you'll get sound, you'll get heat, you'll get light. It's all good, right? But how about coal? Well, coal is produced by the plant matter being compressed over millions of years and turning into coal. And then you can release the energy of the plant by burning it, right? And you get more out than you put in. However, that plant was once alive and could turn towards the sun, right? Could grow and do all these other things, not like a rock, yeah? Which is inanimate. What happened to the thing that made that plant alive? Because it's not there in the coal, is it? That's what we're talking about. Where did the energy go? We can sense many forms of energy, but we are limited by our senses. We can only perceive a certain range of frequencies of, for example, light and sound. Low and high wavelengths are beyond us. The majority of the extent of all these sounds and light is beyond our abilities. We are designed to exist in our environment and survive. We don't need to be able to see infrared, ultraviolet, or hear ultra low or ultra high frequencies. The same is true of like radiation and stuff like that, even though some of that radiation can actually do us harm, like you know, radiation from plutonium or uranium or something like that could do us harm, but we can't sense it. We only sense it when we realize the extent of the cell damage it's caused. So we are locked in by our senses. We have limited ability. Now, it's the same with our minds. If we are closed-minded, we limit our abilities to perceive. I mean, we would never say, because you've got a friend, right, who's got really good eyesight, and you're like me, you haven't. So he says, oh, look, there's a car down there. And you go, well, I can't see it. But you're not going to say, no, you can't. There is no car. I can't see it, so therefore it can't be there. You're going to say, oh, he's got better eyesight than me, so he probably can see it. You see, open-mindedness. You're allowing that to be there. And I'm just looking at this, and oh, let's finish that. No, wait a minute. Okay. So the same thing is for extrasensory perception, which we'll come to in more detail. Because we've used extrasensory perception. It's been something we've looked at for the last 10,000 years or so. It might include abilities such as telepathy, psychometry, clairsense. Unfortunately, in these days, there's lots of fraud and trickery and stuff like that. So it's hard to evaluate stuff as being real on those things. But there is lots of evidence, and I would think statistically it is proven that some people have a bit more better sensory perception in certain areas than others. Let's leave it at that. And the scientific method of acceptance is also limited by its endorsement of something that's scientific and acceptable by its requirements, by other scientists. You know, we have the classic experience of knowing somebody's watching us from behind. My partner and I do this all the time. I will sit and look at her back and she will turn around straight away and say, yeah, what do you need? It just happens. Same thing when someone's calling on the phone and you know who it is, or you know someone's going to call. So those experiences aren't real, or are they? But they do occur. So how do you explain that phenomena? Okay, this is the end of part 2 because we're running out of time. And we'll pick it up again in part 3. This is Dr. Andy Yates, the Incongruous. This is the theory of energy being everything and the explanation of the paranormal, supernatural, spiritual, psychic, etc., etc., etc. Take care till you get to part 3.